So in this stage, stage 7, what we're going to do is that we are going to permute the corners. Now what I mean by this is that we're going to move each of these 4 corners into their correct positions, if they're not already in them. Now, the one other thing about this is that, first of all, we need to find an adjacent pair. So for example, these two would need to be the same color, as what I mean by adjacent pair. Now, for example, as you can see, none of these are adjacent pairs, because, as you can see, none of these corners here share the same color at all. So red and orange, green and blue, orange red, blue green. So if, say, these two are green, that would be an adjacent pair. Okay, so as I said, none of these are adjacent pairs. So we're going to need to make some. Now, the algorithm I want to use to actually make an adjacent pair is the same algorithm that we're going to use to actually permute the corners. So first of all, because none of these, as I said, are adjacent pairs, we're going to use any one of these 4 faces as the front face. So I'm just going to use this one to actually not bother turning them. So the algorithm we're going to use is OR prime, F, OR prime, B2, so B2 in case you didn't hear that, then OR, F prime, OR prime, B2, OR2. Okay, so if we look around, we have moved a good few of the corners, and we have made an adjacent pair, so orange and orange. Right, as you can see, none of these are the same color except for these two. So this is what I mean by an adjacent pair. So now that we have made one, we can actually now do the permutation of the corners. So we are going to get these 2 corners onto their correct face. So as you can see, these are on the red face, and if you remember from stage 1 that orange is opposite red, we can just turn the whole cube around just like this. So the orange is now lined up on the orange face. Okay? Now, once we have done this, we now need to put our adjacent pair on the back for this algorithm to work. So as I said, if there's no adjacent pairs, use any one of the 4 faces except for the yellow and the white as the front face. If you do have an adjacent pair, put that adjacent pair on the back layer. Now, as I said, that the same algorithm is used to make an adjacent pair if you don't have any, and to actually permute the corners. So just do that algorithm. And you should notice that all around we have adjacent pairs. So blue, orange, green, and red. Now, if these aren't exactly lined up with their faces, you can just do that. Okay? So now, as you can see, we just need to worry about the corners, the edges, which is in stage 8. Okay? Okay, so in this stage, stage 8, the final stage, we are going to just permute the edges. So just like the corners, we're going to move the edges around into their correct positions. Now, when we do come to this stage, we will have to recognize 1 out of 3 cases. Okay, so in this case, we have 3 incorrect edges, as you can see, so the blue is the only correct one in this case. Now, as I said, there's 3 cases. Now, 2 of these are technically with 3 incorrect edges. Now, this one is where we'll have to move it clockwise, and I'll show you what I mean. That, as you can see, this is red here, obviously, so we need to get it to this edge piece. So it's going over to here. This is orange, so it needs to go to the opposite side of the cube, over here. So far we're going up here, across, and this green needs to go over here. So it's going back to where it was. So we're going in this sort of motion. So if we do it circular, we can see that we're going to be going clockwise. So in this case, I would call it the incorrect edge, the clockwise incorrect edges, technically, because that's what it is. They're going clockwise, and there's 3 incorrect edges. Now, the algorithm to actually do this case is F2, and then U, because they're going clockwise, L, OR prime, F2, L prime, or U again, because it's clockwise, and then F2. Okay? Now, If this was your case, congratulations, you have solved the Rubik's Cube. Okay, so here we have another case where, just like the previous case, we have 3 incorrect edges. And because the one here is red, so the 3 incorrect edges are here. Now, these edges, as you may know, are actually a part of a different case. In the previous one, we were going in this direction. In this case, this edge needs to go here, so it's going up. This edge needs to go over here, so it's going across. And this edge needs to go down to here. So we are going in this sort of motion, which is this direction, aka anti-clockwise. So instead of clockwise, we're now going anti-clockwise. And you're able to recognize it because if you look at the left face, this color here is not opposite this color. So if this color is opposite this, you're going clockwise. If this color is not opposite this one, you're going anti-clockwise. You can also know it's anti-clockwise just by seeing this color as opposite this. Okay, so that's green and that's blue. Okay, now the algorithm to do this case is actually very similar to doing the previous case. So we do this following: F2, U prime, because we're going anti-clockwise, L, or prime, F2, L prime, or U prime, again, because we're going anti-clockwise, and then F2. And if that was your case, congratulations, you have solved the Rubik's Cube. Okay, so in this final type of case, what we see here is that all of our edges are incorrect. Okay, so these two, well, as you can see, that this is incorrect, and the same with these two. Now, in fact, the algorithm that we can do to change this from a all incorrect edge case to a 3 incorrect edge case, so we can make one of them correct, is we can use either one of the algorithms from the first two. Pretty much, basically. So I'm going to choose the one that goes as clockwise, you know, because I just feel like it. It's just any one of the random two, pretty much. And then do remember to spin this in the same direction that you're going. And then we've solved one of them. So then you come to the case, one of the 3 incorrect edges. So as you can see, we need to bring this over to here, this to here, and this over to here. So what we're going to do is we have this guy in front, this is opposite here, so we're going to go this direction, anti-clockwise. So F2, and so on, so on. Now, so by the end of this case, you should have the Rubik's Cube completely solved. Now, you should remember a good majority of all the cases from the start to finish of solving the cross at the bottom to, in fact, permuting the edges at the top. Now, if you have any questions and would like to, basically, if you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll get back to them as soon as possible, and just keep on practicing. And I would also give a tip that if you want to, just keep on practicing each stage until you get confident in it. Now, another thing before we finish that as well, there's actually a cool finger trick, which is something that helps to actually help you kind of some way speed up with your Rubik's Cube. That if you wanted to do a move like U or U prime or U2, use your index fingers. That U, which would use your right index finger, you can flick it. So you might have seen me doing this. You would have seen me doing this in the video. U prime is using your left index finger, and then U2 is flicking the right index or even the left index twice. Or if you want, you can use you can choose one of your hands and do it index in the middle. So like, sorry, I don't exactly have that much practice myself. So keep on practicing each of those stages, and you will eventually get all the way from the cross to the entire yellow cube, the yellow face. So Keep on practicing and you will eventually manage to solve the entire Rubik's Cube. Thank you for watching.